Emily stood center stage, the spotlight glaring hot on her face, making her eyes water even more than her nerves already had. She was just 14, small for her age, and her hands shook so badly the microphone buzzed against her fingers. The vast audition room was silent except for the clicking of cameras and the slow, curious breathing of hundreds of spectators. 3 judges sat behind their desk, their expressions carefully unreadable. She swallowed hard. She'd dreamed of singing on this stage, but she'd never imagined it would feel so big, so cold. When they asked her name, her voice cracked. "Emily," she whispered, and then cleared her throat. She took a deep breath that felt like the last gulp of air before jumping into deep water. I want to sing a song for Jesus. For my parents. They need a miracle." The words trembled out of her like they'd been trapped in her chest for weeks. The judges exchanged surprised glances. They were used to confident pop singers, polished and rehearsed, coming in to show off. This wasn't that. One of them leaned forward, eyes narrowing, not in judgment but curiosity. The audience, which had been restless and half-bored, fell completely still. You could hear the hum of the lights, the hush of collective expectation. Emily could feel her heart trying to climb out of her ribcage. She thought of her parents in that dim hospital room, her dad hooked to machines that beeped constantly, her mom slumped in a chair by his side, eyes hollow from too many nights without sleep. They'd given her everything, every toy, every warm meal, every second of love they had to give. Now they had nothing left. She wasn't here for fame. She wasn't here for the prize money for herself. She was here to beg the world for help in the only way she knew, by singing a prayer. By offering the brokenness in her voice, the raw truth in her heart. She hoped that maybe, just maybe, someone would hear her, would see them. She clutched the mic tighter. Her lips quivered. She shut her eyes against the glare. And in the silence that felt like the whole world holding its breath, she prepared to sing. Emily's voice trembles softly over the images of a small, dimly lit hospital room. Her father lies in the narrow bed, face pale and lined with pain, an oxygen tube resting beneath his nose. Once he was the strongest man she knew, lifting her onto his shoulders to watch parades, carrying groceries in one trip, always laughing even when times were hard. Now he barely has the strength to squeeze her hand. Beside him sits Emily's mother, clothes rumpled from sleeping in the hospital chair for days at a time. Her hair is pulled back hastily, dark circles ring her tired eyes. She's the one who works double shifts at the diner and cleans offices at night, refusing help, too proud to let anyone see them fall apart. In the soft glow of the bedside lamp, she rubs her forehead and whispers prayers she's too tired to finish. Emily's eyes, on the audition stage, glisten with unshed tears. She can see them there, in her mind, more clearly than the crowd before her. "They sacrificed everything for me," her voice says in a quiet, breaking whisper. "I just want them to know they're not alone." The flashback slides through gentle but painful moments, her mom counting change at the kitchen table at midnight, her dad teaching her to ride a bike and then wincing as he stood up too fast, the 3 of them huddled on a worn couch watching old movies. Even when there wasn't much, there was always love. But accidents don't care about love. Bills don't care about dignity. Watching them slip away, not just in money but in hope, was the worst part. Emily felt too small to fight the world for them, too poor to buy them what they needed. So she chose the one thing she had, her voice. A prayer set to music. A plea disguised as a song. She wasn't trying to win anything for herself. She wanted someone, anyone, to see them, to remember them, to prove they hadn't been forgotten. As the flashback fades, we return to her face on stage. Her lips part. She's ready to offer up everything she is for the 2 people who gave her everything they had. The stage lights burn hot and unblinking, but Emily doesn't see them anymore. She closes her eyes, shutting out the judges' watchful gazes and the restless crowd. Her fingers tighten around the mic one last time, and then, something in her goes quiet. The shaking stops. Her breath steadies. She opens her mouth, and at first the sound is small and wavering. But it grows, swelling like a tide pulled by something deeper than fear. Her voice is raw but beautiful, every note trembling with pain, every word a plea she can't speak any other way. She sings of faith that survives even in the dark. Of hope that flickers when the world feels cold. She sings of hands that held her when she cried, of the love that fed her when there was nothing else. She sings to Jesus, not demanding but asking softly, please. See them. Heal them. Don't let them feel forgotten. The judges lean in, eyes wide. One tries to hold their stoic face but fails, tears slide down their cheek unchecked. The audience, so quick to judge or dismiss at first, falls utterly silent. Even the cynics can't look away. The power in her voice isn't polished or trained, it's honest. Painfully, beautifully honest. Her voice breaks on one line, cracking like something fragile dropped on a floor, but she keeps going, pouring everything she has left into the song. The lights seem to dim around her, as if the whole world is giving her space to pray. When she finishes, she lets the last note linger in the air before it fades. Her eyes flutter open, wet with tears she didn't notice falling. She's breathing hard, chest rising and falling like she's just run a race. For a moment, there's nothing. Just the silence of hundreds of people trying to remember how to breathe. Then the applause erupts, huge and thunderous, breaking the spell with grateful release. The judges are on their feet, clapping hard, one wiping their eyes with the back of their hand. Emily doesn't smile. She doesn't bow. She just stands there, exhausted, relieved, a tiny glimmer of hope lighting her face. She knows she sang for them. She knows they heard. And maybe, just maybe, someone up there heard too. When the final note dies away, it leaves behind a heavy, sacred hush. No one speaks. The entire room seems to hold its breath, suspended in that raw, aching silence. The audience is frozen, eyes wet, hands pressed to mouths to muffle the quiet sobs that ripple through the crowd. Even the harsh glare of the stage lights feels softer now, like the world itself has been humbled. At the judges' table, there's no pretense left. One judge wipes their eyes openly, giving up on hiding how hard they're crying. Another presses a hand over their heart, unable to speak. Finally, they stand, pushing their chair back with a scrape that sounds too loud in the quiet. One by one, the other judges follow. A standing ovation grows, slowly at first, then surging all at once as the entire crowd rises to their feet. Emily's eyes widen. She looks out and sees strangers crying for her parents, for her, for themselves. She sees them not as a faceless audience but as people, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, each of them carrying something heavy that maybe felt a little lighter now. A judge finally finds their voice, but it breaks halfway through. They shake their head in wonder. That wasn't just a song, they manage, voice thick with tears. That was a miracle. Hearing those words shatters whatever fragile strength Emily was clinging to. She drops her head, shoulders shaking as sobs break free. She presses the mic to her chest like it's the only thing holding her together. But the applause doesn't stop. It rolls over her like a wave, not demanding anything more, just offering warmth. Support. Love. People who didn't know her name an hour ago are cheering like family. Kindness shines in their eyes. In that moment, there are no judges and contestants, no rich and poor, no healthy and sick. Just human beings, remembering they belong to one another. The camera pans across tear-streaked faces in the audience, strangers hugging, holding hands. Because Emily's song wasn't just for her parents. It was for everyone who needed to be seen. Everyone who needed to know they weren't alone. Backstage, the applause still echoes faintly from the auditorium as Emily stumbles off the stage, wiping her eyes with the back of her trembling hand. She's exhausted, her voice raw, her heart pounding like a drum she can't quiet. She doesn't know if she'll faint or cry harder. She only knows she gave them everything she had. Her mom rushes to her first, pulling her into a crushing hug. She's crying so hard she can't speak, only pressing kisses to Emily's hair. Behind them, her father sits in a wheelchair the producers provided, tears streaming down his lined face. He tries to stand, forgetting for a moment that he can't, so desperate to hold his daughter. Emily drops to her knees beside him, burying her face in his chest. Then one of the producers clears their throat, voice unsteady. They step forward gently, placing a hand on her mother's shoulder. "We've been talking," they say. "Everyone on the team, the sponsors, the network. We want to help. We're going to cover the medical bills. All of them." Silence falls again, this time heavier, almost disbelieving. Emily's mother's hand flies to her mouth. Her father's breath hitches, a sob breaking loose. Emily blinks, stunned, her tears restarting with fresh force. She looks at them, eyes shining with something new, hope. She reaches out and grabs both their hands. Her voice is hoarse, but sure. "Thank you," she whispers. Her eyes lift slightly, as if speaking to someone above them all. "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, everyone." The camera pulls back slowly to catch the three of them locked in a shaking, grateful embrace. Around them, stagehands, producers, even other contestants stand quietly watching, many of them crying too. As the screen fades to black, a warm voiceover speaks. Sometimes, the smallest voice can carry the biggest prayer, and change the world. The last image is Emily's tear-streaked face pressed against her father's shoulder, eyes closed in exhausted, overwhelming relief. For the first time in too long, there's no fear in her expression, just love, faith, and the knowledge that they're not alone anymore.